There's a lot of giant, important corporations all around the world, and they're also very well known. But there's a corporation that is very secretive. BlackRock, a company that kind of owns the world. In the year 2008, when the Great Recession happened, a lot of American companies like General Motors were going bankrupt, but they were given loans so they don't go bankrupt. Who paid the money? The US government? No, they didn't have it. What about the banks? No, they didn't have money either. BlackRock gave the funds. CEO of BlackRock is this guy, Larry Fink. We could say this guy is the most powerful man in the world. We don't know who's behind him, but if you had to choose, it's this guy. This is basically a holding company for the biggest corporations around the world. In the year 2020, when the COVID hit and everything dropped, where did the US government receive help from? BlackRock. All the money the US government gave to giant companies and also unemployment money, they all came from BlackRock. So in the year 2020, Larry Fink was the most powerful man in the world as well. Even though this man is very powerful and rich, but most people don't know him. They know people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. BlackRock could be considered a bank in the shadows, and most of the world's money is in their hands. BlackRock is holding around $10 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T, 10,000 billion. Just like we said, this is a holding company, and major companies around the world work with BlackRock. Behind this holding company, there's another one by the name of Vanguard, and this one has around $7 trillion. And there's also more giant companies that nobody knows about. A company by the name of State Street. This is BlackRock, and you can't imagine the power they have. And that is why they're considered the most powerful company in the world. In a giant company all around the world, BlackRock has something to do with them. And if you actually do a research, you'll know that BlackRock is a large shareholder in their company. Even Chinese banks, giant company like Apple or other types. Anybody that wants to get giant in this world, they have to work with this bank. So what happened that this bank was created? When Larry Fink graduated from UCLA, he was only 23 years old, and he went from California to New York and got a job in Wall Street. He started working in a company, and his job was to contact giant companies and get business loans for them. He was so good at getting loans that giant companies really wanted to work with him, because you could say he was a business genius. He was so good at his job that at the age of 31, he became the manager of First Boston Bank in New York. And he was considered the youngest manager for that bank. Right as he started working, he makes a mistake and the bank loses $100 million, and everything was blamed onto Larry Fink. And for that reason, they had to fire him. Anybody that would get fired like this would be devastated, and there was a chance they would never lift off from this ever again. But Larry was not going to let something like this defeat him, and he made a promise to himself that without knowing the risk, I will never risk anything again. First, I have to know what it is, then risk. He started BlackRock in the year 1985 with his partner Steven Schwartzman. These two started BlackRock with a $5 million loan, and after 8 years, meaning by 1993, they had $2 billion in holdings in the bank. Around those years, they had some issues with each other and they decided to split up, as Steven sold his share and left, but Larry stayed and continued the job. In the year 1999, Larry Fink put BlackRock on the stock market for an amount of $375 million. That $375 million that day became $152 billion today. This is what the company's worth, but the money it holds is the most money in the world, and that's more than $10 trillion. And this money makes this company the most powerful company in the world. Another powerful thing about this company is its software it uses, and it's named Aladdin. This software is a very advanced technology because it has an algorithm that works 24 hours a day and it scans every stock all around the world. This software shows where to buy and where to sell, and they have most of the money in their hands anyway. We said before, but we'll say it again. When the Great Recession happened in 2008, where did the US government call? BlackRock, because there was no other corporation that could give the funds. There's no real numbers because everything happened behind the curtains. But BlackRock gave hundreds of billions of dollars in loan to different companies, and that's so they don't go bankrupt. After that, BlackRock became the most powerful company in the world, and Larry Fink was the most powerful man in the world. And he even became more powerful when in 2020, not only did he give companies loans, he gave the US government a loan. There's no real number again because everything happens behind closed doors. The day Larry Fink lost $100 million in the First Boston Bank, a flame grew inside him that gets bigger every day, and he wants to make his company bigger and bigger. With their software, they buy and sell hundreds of billions of dollars. Buying and selling that most of them turn a profit. But one question, is Larry Fink the only owner of BlackRock and has $10 trillion in his hands? A lot of people say no. Different people own this, and you don't know what they look like. We don't know them either. And if you don't know them, they might be at the grocery store next to you buying something, and you don't notice that he might be the owner of BlackRock.